the Attic Podcast. I'm your host AJ, and today we're talking about a topic that everyone can relate to: money. Some people look at money positively, they look at it in terms of motivation, aspirations, whereas others look at money in a negative point of view that can cause depression, anxiety. But today we've got my boy on Kush. What are you saying, Kush? You good?
What are you saying, man? Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for being on. So getting straight into it, money. I feel like this sort of conversation is best to start off with in terms of understanding the money mindset, how these kind of thoughts are formed. Kush, I've had a lot of thought on this in terms of how do people perceive money, right? And there's two things that I've noticed. One is your upbringing, and two, culture. Would you agree these 2 points kind of relate in terms of how your perception is built?
Yeah, I would agree. There's probably a couple others to add on there. I think hunger is a big one, right?
Do you think hunger's something that you're born with and it kind of shapes you, or is that as a byproduct of kind of your upbringing?
Yeah, it can be part of your upbringing, right? If you're around people that have nice things, that can sometimes bring hunger. But some people, they're just built with it, bro.
Do you actually think that?
Yeah. Some people, it's natural, man. Like, they're just workers, man. If you think about some immigrants, right, that come to the UK, bro, they got hunger, man. They're willing to put in like 70 hours a week. And
I think what we're saying is just initially going back before these habits are formed. Like as a kid, do you know? I feel like, do you think hardship creates good money habits, or does it create bad money habits? And let me kind of give a bit of context to that. When I say good money habits, these are things such as making your money work for yourself, whereas bad habits that I would perceive as saving money and doing nothing with it, right? So to give a bit of a backstory further to that, I'd think in my head a negative ideal about money come from a place of poverty. If you're in a poverty stricken area, or if you don't have a humble upbringing, what I feel like happens is you are very conservative of how you spend your money. Would you agree on that point? Or?
yeah, I agree, man, because I think like when you have hardships and everything's not being given to you, you understand the value of money a lot more, right?
Exactly.
Say for your first car, for example, if your dad's buying you that, or your mum and dad, nothing against if they have, you might not value like a 22 plate new car, but say if you've worked hard, you've had to get that money yourself for the insurance, for the lessons, and you bought that 2002 car, you might value that a lot more because that's come out of your own money. Do you know what I mean?
So so would you say if you come from more of a poverty stricken area, your money mindset becomes, I'm in a certain phase, but I'm happy with the progression I'm making buying that 2002 car. Other people might look at that as in, oh, that's not great, but for yourself, you're quite happy with how you've progressed. Is that what you're saying in that sense?
Yeah, absolutely, bro.
Yeah.
Obviously, don't compare yourself to others, but you know the value in it.
For sure.
You know the value of like, bro, you go work nowadays, man. They pay you £10 an hour. It's not much, but then you value that £10. Like, that's an hour of my time.
Yeah, definitely. And on the flip side of things, let's say if you've grown up in a very wealthy background, would you say, and I can't relate to this because this is more of an open discussion, because this side of things is something that's new, something that I've not experienced. Would you say the perception is if you've come from wealth, then you don't value things as much?
I think, honestly, bro, it can be 50-50. I feel like some people, it all depends on the parenting, bro. If you're going to get handouts and things are going to get done for you, you might not understand. But if your family got wealth, but they've taught you the value, but that tends to happen when the parents come from hardships themselves, right?
Yes.
And then they can pass that knowledge down.
So in a way, it does kind of relate to the points, as in your upbringing kind of shapes your mentality about money management, and just the whole idea of money.
But this is a question for you, bro. Like,
Sure.
there's people that come from hardships that are like so knees deep in with debt, and they're just not motivated by their hardship. So you do have that side of the coin as well.
Would you say a lot of that, and that's a great point they touched on, would you say that in terms of hardships and being in debt is a place where you're not looking to address your problems, whether you're blowing your money because you want to live for the moment and not plan for the future?
Yeah, it can be that, or it can be that you don't have that network where you've seen wealth and how it's done. Like in your mind, you just think, "Oh, evil rich people," right?
Yes, and
But
that's true. That's true, Kush. Growing up as well, the perception of where we come from is, if you're rich, there's always a bit of saltiness involved. I would say,
yeah.
You know, you see people at school with the flashiest
But-
things. You'd always think, "Oh, silver spoon," but that's not entirely the case, is it?
Yeah, bro. Like, let's be honest, man. If like I could provide for my kids like that, I'll do it as well, innit?
For sure.
But
Absolutely.
it's all about teaching them the value on top.
Definitely. So this is a question I thought of right now. Would you say that, all that being said, growing up in hardship is more valuable in terms of growing your money mindset compared to coming from a wealthy background, or is it all interchangeable based on your upbringing and culture, which we'll touch on next?
Yeah, bro. I don't think there's a one size fits all. To be honest, I feel like experiencing hardships, whether you've come from a low income background or a high income background, you can still experience hardships.
Sure.
I definitely think hardships are vital to success, man. Like pain brings failure sometimes.
Yeah,
bro.
that definitely does. I just feel like if you come from a place of wealth, you have more of a cushion, you know. So you have
You got a safety net, innit?
Yeah, that's what I would come to look at. Yes.
Yeah. You got a safety net.
But like I said, not speaking from experience, this is just outside looking in. If you did come from wealth or whatnot, please put your comments in below so we can kind of get an understanding ourselves. But touching on the second point, so there were two that I kind of made, which were your upbringing kind of shapes your money mindset, and the second I'd say is culture. We
Yeah.
come from we're both Indian. We come from similar cultures. So just touching on that, do you think that has much of a part to play with your money mindset? Because initially, what I think is, when I think of us, the stereotype is stingy. We save money, but we're hard
That's
to
just,
let it go. Would you agree with that? And like I said, it's just a stereotype, right?
yeah. There is that stereotype, man. Like the Indians, bro, they're cheap, but let's be honest, that's what it is, isn't it? But I think it doesn't matter really,
Okay, interesting. And do you know how you said there were a few other?
because I think
Like, go for
yeah.
it.
Sorry to interrupt. bro.
No.
Yeah, I think if you can come from like say English household, but you can be brought up with the same morals. I got friends that are English, right, and they got the money mindset. They're motivated. It just comes back to that parenting, whatever culture they're from.
Yeah.
But I know in our culture it's more common for that money and penny pinching and don't spend your money on this. It's too much.
Yeah.
Why are you ordering that? What are them parcels for?
You know how it is. Whenever I order parcels, my family asks me how much it is. I'll give them 50% off, like the price that it actually is. 'Cause I know they get
bro. You give the VAT price.
that's what it is, man. It has to be like that sometimes. But yeah, that's a good point. In terms of some sort of, this is what I want to start getting into. I would say about the money mentality, about growing up and shaping it in a positive light. What sort of characteristics do you see where people develop bad habits when it comes to money management? Is there anything specific you can kind of touch on?
Impulsive spending. I know we'll touch on that later, but that's definitely a characteristic.
Yeah, we can touch on that right now, actually.
Yeah, bro. A high risk appetite.
Yeah.
Um,
What do you mean by high risk appetite? Isn't?
Yeah, like some people, bro, they'll think, "Oh, I've got no money, but let me go on the roulette wheel."
Oh,
Do you know what I mean?
so you're touching in terms of the whole gambling and
Yeah, like high
Take
risk,
money.
like not. You obviously got to take risks to get money, but they should be calculated risks, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Money that you can afford to lose.
Yeah, bro.
I think that's a great point you touched upon. I think coming from a place where there's not enough wealth, people would instantly assume the only way to make it out, gambling, quick crypto trips. What's that? 100x in your money in 2 days. In a day or so.
Them forex boys.
Oh, get me started on the forex, boys. Yes, we are taking shots at you. Yeah, don't be sending me DMs anymore about financial advice. I'm not hearing you.
Or your drop shipping business.
Yeah.
Like, if you're making money, bro, you do you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we get it. There's no one size fits all. So you got to kind of go in different areas. But I feel like stuff such as crypto, to an extent, as in looking for the next what do they call it, the
Dogecoin.
Dogecoin or anything to go to the moon, or even gambling, people kind of get into a mentality where this is the only way we could make it.
Yeah.
It's the way to get out of poverty. But that's counterproductive.
Yeah, because I'll be honest, man, I got a bit of money in crypto, but
Yeah, cool, likewise.
I put money in that like is already a loss in it. I'm not relying on that for my future. It's just one of them, just calculate a risk in it to win it. If it comes through, it comes through. If it don't, it don't, man.
It is what it is. And that's a great segue in terms of the next point, in terms of investing your money. So I see a lot, and of course everything comes from trial and error, and how things are communicated. When you see other people doing successful with a certain strategy with their investment portfolio, because you'll copy them doesn't mean you'll get the same results. It's all about timing, right? And we can't predict this. We're not experts in this, are we?
No. But there's different types of investing, man.
Sure.
There's the automated investing, which there's so many ways to do it at the moment, man. Like you just invest into your funds.
Are you talking about like ETFs?
Yeah, ETFs, man. The S&P 500.
Sure.
There's ones in AI. There's ones in like electric vehicles. So like your portfolio is more diversified. So it reduces the risk slightly, but no one's got a crystal ball, bro.
Exactly. That's the thing I feel like certain people need to realise is everything you go into, it's all a learning curve. Just put in as much time forward to lose. By the way, this is not all financial advice. This is just our views and thoughts on these.
And we're not financial advisors.
We are not. Don't see any of us in turtleneck, yeah? So we're not financial advisors. But look, there's certain taboos that people never speak about. So why don't we kind of bring our thoughts and start this conversation, you know? So just kind of going into a different area now. I know Kush was speaking about this earlier. When you look at successful people, you start to see certain characteristics that all kind of share, all that are similar. Is there anybody that you've looked up to in the past that comes from a rags to riches? You know, that sort of example, because I feel like that's great because you get to see both sides of it. Right? You can learn from other people's mistakes. But what's your views on that?
Yeah, bro. There was one guy, man, since a kid, I think watching The Apprentice. Lord Sugar, from very young, I always thought, you know what, this guy's sick. Then I read into his story a bit. So he come from the council house, man. He was doing markets. And now, like, he's dishing out 250k every year, like, on a TV show.
Great stuff.
And that's not his only investment. But in terms of characteristics, you see, he's very wealthy, but I get the vibe that he's still very shrewd and logical with the way he spends his money.
Definitely,
right?
And that comes back to the growth, the money mindset. So do you think it comes a step up to that, as in the differs and things are working? And
he kept going, man. Probably there was days where like he weren't making no money, bro, just planting seeds, and then one day them seeds blossom, bro, and he's made his wealth, and then he continues to make wealth because that's his personality, right? Definitely.
So you'd kind of bring it back, and that's a great example. I've actually read his book. I've got it downstairs if you want to.
Wicked.
So,
let me that, bro.
It's been a little while since I went over it, but you can see the struggle that he came from, and I think it's just developing that mindset where working for a company to a point is successful, but building something for yourself is what the goal is at the end of the day, right? Because you want to kind of go with your vision, have people around you to help yourselves grow, and of course, when you have something that's your own, you'd put more work, you'd have more of a passion of it, right? But that's a great point. I would use a different example, and this is a completely different area. I'd use 50 Cent, right? Oh, I love my rap music. 50 Cent to me is an idol. You see how he grew up in poverty, and from where he grew up in New York, South Jamaica, Queens. That's the one.
It, bro.
You see the growth from the music. But what I'm talking about right now is more in terms of the investments and the strategies he makes. Him was like vitamin water. Have you heard much about that deal that he had in the past?
No, I've not, man. I've not, but I know music is a big avenue for people to come out of poverty and make a lot of money. And then you get people that are like musical and then businessmen.
Yes.
Like 50.
Yes.
Who's using his brand now to build other products.
And that is so inspiring to see. And the reason I use rags to riches is because that's something more where we can relate to. You know? As in making something out of nothing. So back onto that water deal that he signed like a decade ago. I think at the end of the deal, he bought out his share for over 100 million. But in that sense, you could see the growth. You could see how anybody can make it. I think that's what I learned about it. It's just having the right strategies in place and learning from other people.
Especially nowadays, man, like with the internet, bro, we all got access to information within a tap away, bro. And look, even me, I could take this advice on board myself, man. Like, find strategies, see what energizes you, and go for it.
Definitely, and that's a great point you touched on in terms of everything's accessible. When people say to me now, I don't have the resources in place, you're gassing. Everybody has resources in place.
But then they got a Gucci t-shirt.
Yeah, you're spending $7 bills on a Gucci t-shirt, but you can't use that to train your mind to invest and grow that wealth, you know. So I think that there is a big distinction between people who want wealth and actually go out and learn about it. Are there any other examples that you want to use, or UK around that?
Yeah, I think there's loads, man. There's Ed Sheeran, there's Jay-Z.
See, I haven't really heard. You know what? I know Ed Sheeran, but I don't know his story. Did he come from nothing?
Yeah, apparently, man, he was homeless.
No way.
He was like on the street playing his guitar and had a change pot in front of him. Yeah, look at him now.
Like these people that I've mentioned today, which are so different, from 50 Cent, Alan Sugar, Ed Sheeran. Is there anything specific that stands out for you to say there's a similar trait which these people have?
I feel the biggest trait they have is that they saw the vision and they believed in themselves, and
that's huge.
And it's just about believing in your vision and having faith is going to happen. It's down to faith, isn't it?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because there's going to be times where people do not believe in what you're doing.
Yeah,
and that can kind of discourage you from your path.
That actually discourages a lot of people, man. More than you think.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I've mentioned this in a few episodes in the past with the other guests. Shout out to everyone who's been on so far, which is everyone is talented, but they're too scared to let their potential go because they might be different. They might have skills that other people don't have. But yeah, that's a good sort of segue that we've gone on. Next topic that we want to kind of get into, and this is very interesting, is how money management. If you fail to manage your money, what effects that have on people. We've spoken about the positive side of things, such as 50 Cent, Ed Sheeran, Alan Sugar. But what about negatives? Because I feel like this is something that's not spoken about enough.
I think the wrong financial partner, from the research I've done, man, I don't know from my own experiences, but the research I've done is that like 70% of divorces have a money element to them. There's some sort of financial stress there. So, and divorces themselves cost a lot of money, right? So I think choosing the right person, that matters.
So you've mentioned firstly, which is very interesting, is finding the right partner. Would you say in more in terms of like a relationship side of things?
A relationship, friends, surround yourself with people that have similar money habits, really, because you tend to be a reflection of your closest people.
Oh, right? Yeah. So you are who you're surrounded by, essentially.
Yeah,
is
your
what
network is your net worth.
So this is a bit of a sticky topic. So when it comes to money and relationships, so let's just use two examples: money and love, right? What is the right balance between this?
I don't know, bro, but I don't love that logo. I just
Kush, man, you need to stop hating.
Bro, I just clocked that, man. We need a Tottenham.
Who do you support again?
Tottenham.
Do you say that again?
Tottenham, bro.
Get well soon, man. Get well soon. But yeah, look, on that topic in terms of money and relationships, right? I feel like a lot of people don't address this. I know people, I'm not mentioning names, that they've gone out on dates and splashed stupid amounts of money.
Yeah.
Dates.
Yeah.
Right? That is, for me, you're a sucker, first of all, for doing that. And secondly, do you feel like money is the key sort of generator of attracting people?
No way, bro. No, money's not the generator. I think your personality, how you manage your money, and your ambition towards money may make you more attractive. But like having the money in your bank today, it don't matter, bro. And splashing money on girls, bro, like they usually think you're covering something up.
No, I think that's an insecure sort of point. I feel like, look, if you're spending more than £100 on a date, for example, then you're not doing it right. I feel like you should be able to get to know someone that you're looking to get with. That's interesting. But back to this whole sort of depression and how anxiety, don't you feel, and this is true, money segments people from poor to wealthy. I feel like at the end of the day, people are people. You should not judge them. You should take them for their merit and their personalities. But we see that a lot where people are judged based on their social class, you know.
Yeah, I don't respect that, man, because I feel like it doesn't matter about your social class, it's about the person themselves. Money problems, they can have all sort of like mental health impacts, right? They cause low mood, anxiety, can impact someone's self-esteem. So you think people are segmented?
Yeah, 100%. And do you know what it is? I feel like a lot of it comes down to the people that are around you. Because if you are struggling financially in any sense, and you can't manage it, and you can't manage that anxiety or the pressure, you should be able to speak to people around you to get your advice. But I think the problem is people are too embarrassed to go out and say.
It's a head down thing, isn't it? People don't really want to talk about.
That's something that we will talk about, because we're all human at the end of the day, and like I said, it all stems back to the money mindset. People are grown with different backgrounds, different cultures, different upbringings. So I don't think people should be judged on their mistakes. They can learn from it, but only if they can kind of communicate that. So what do you think is the main reason why people shy away and put their head down? Is it just because of the social impact? Or what people think
it's a social impact, and they're already in a place of anxiety, so they're overthinking it already, and it's just something to be shameful about. But then it ends up coming back to you, because like, say if you're asking someone who's in debt, yo bro, come on holiday, and they're making excuses. They're not being like, I ain't got the money. They're like, it ends up, if your people are close to you, you need to sort of communicate that, look, I can't afford this.
And that's a great point, because we was touching on what you said before in terms of the people around you can dictate who you are as a person as well. So maybe having a better social circle, be more open. You know, we're all human at the end of the day. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect.
I'm not perfect, bro.
But as long as you can kind of bounce off each other, there's certain characteristics you have that I need to learn better about, and vice versa, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think that's a conversation that should be hidden or put under the rugs, because like you said, certain things isn't going on holiday with the boys. You can't go. You have to make an excuse. It's fine, right? As long as you're honest with yourself and you know that you need to work on these things or get advice. Do you know what I think?
Yeah. Just like close people, you trust them, bro. Share it with them. If you think, obviously, you got to be comfortable they're the right.
Sure,
if they're people that are going to make you feel worse about the situation, but you can take that judgment. And if it's not your people, maybe tell your parents.
Yes, someone.
There's charities out there even that help people, man.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I was in debt, man, towards the end of uni, and yeah, bro, it was long, man, because like it was end of uni, you want to do things, and then I'm just like, I've got a credit card with debt, and it's like, how do I manage this? And then at that time, you're not thinking, oh, I'm gonna get a graduate, I'm gonna get a job, it's gonna get cleared, but you're just sort of panicking. And I'll be honest, probably didn't tell many people at the time, but as it started reducing the debt, I started communicating about it more, because I felt more secure about there was a plan and saw the end, really.
That's great, and no respect to that, because you know what, that's a good mindset to have, as in you learn from the mistakes that you made.
Yeah.
Some people are unfortunate where they need further advice or further feedback on these things. So I think more than anything, what we're trying to say is, if you are struggling, reach out to somebody. There will be somebody that's gone through what you've been through, and they can kind of give you a path on how to get out of it. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think that's where it comes out from there.
Yeah, it's so hard nowadays, though, bro. Yeah, because say even if you're good with money and like you're someone that you don't have someone that's gonna help you with like a house deposit, like it's tough to like save that depot, move out, and build a foundation nowadays. So
that goes back to the relationship part, isn't it? In terms of the battle between love and money. I mean, having these uncomfortable conversations, they're not easy, are they? Like,
nah, bro.
I can imagine that. But yeah, that's interesting. Is there anything else you want to add on that sort of area?
I think in your last episode you touched on social media, and on there you see people with the wealth straight away, right?
Yes.
But that's not always the case. They usually, it might be fake, or you don't know the background work that's gone into that, man. So take all that stuff with a pinch of salt, in my opinion.
Definitely.
There's
just continue that conversation. First of all, shout out to Hani. It was a great episode about social media. Please feel free to watch back and listen to your views and things. Social media, shows people's lifestyles from a positive perspective, but what they don't see is there's people that struggle to get to where they get to. These days, this generation, everyone wants instant gratification, don't you think?
Yeah,
They feel like overnight, if someone else has done it, I could do it.
And that can be your drink, that can be with money.
Anything.
Everyone wants that. It's dopamine, bro. It comes back to dopamine release.
Dopamine.
Everyone wants to. It's like, say if you got a business idea, they say when you got a business idea and you go tell someone, you're actually cheating your body because you're getting that dopamine release before you've actually done anything. So that's why
I'd kind of look at it a bit different.
Yeah.
In the sense that it's you're putting it out there to the world that you're looking to start something, so you have to start actioning these things. But I get what you mean. Sometimes it's best to be quiet, do the work kind of behind the scenes. Then once things are kind of created,
blossom, then you got that valid dopamine release.
But yeah, but on that topic, so social media creates fake lifestyles, and I think it's quite toxic actually. It definitely depends on what content you're consuming, but since we're on the topic of money, do you not feel like when you see certain social media influencers splashing out cash, it's good to pick up certain characteristics, but you need to find your own path? Do you not think?
Yeah, you need your own path, man. Don't compare yourself to others. Like, everyone's got their own journey, bro.
Definitely.
Some people might make it at 25, some people might make it at 55. Just focus on you. Don't compare. If you can, there's always going to be someone smaller than you. There's always going to be someone bigger than you, right?
Definitely.
Wherever you get to in life.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, Kush, I think another segue into conversations about money is sort of positive habits that we can instill in ourselves. Maybe people are already doing this. Maybe people are looking for any inspiration. So Kush, have you come across any techniques that have worked for you in terms of budgeting, for example?
Yeah, so when I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, it had the principle of paying yourself first. So as soon as I get my money, do my investments, do all my outgoings, do my savings, and then I'm left with a bit of money to enjoy myself with. Whether I go impulsive spend that, go London, buy £14 cocktails that I don't do often, but that's accounted for, right?
Definitely.
But is sort of just looking at your finances, see where you're spending. If it's things that you like to do, you can't stop doing that. Say, for example, if you're a smoker, you're going to smoke cigarettes, budget for that, man. Be honest with yourself and see how them numbers look.
That's great. And do you think the problem that a lot of people have is they probably know they're in a bad financial situation, so they just don't look at their financial, like, I'll get back into accounting terms as a statement of financial position. You have a screenshot of where you currently are with your incomes and outgoings, and kind of making a plan about that. Do you think some people are so deep under the mud where they even want to evaluate that?
Yeah, it gets like that though for some people, man. So, like, the numbers will make them almost lose themselves, so it's better to run away from it.
But yeah, look, you touched on Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I thought that the whole analogy of that book is two perceptions of a same story. Is that what we'd say? There's a rich dad who has different ideals, that have different mindsets about money, compared to the poor dad, which has different mentalities from the schooling system. But do you not think this all kind of relates back to the first point, which was money mindset?
Yeah. The dad wanted him to go sell some coins or something, right? And the other one wanted him to, like, go get a job in a supermarket. Yeah. Bro, it comes back to that mindset of having multiple streams of income and not just relying on one.
Let's talk this, and this might be more relevant to the viewers, right? What if, and you've mentioned this, or this open discussion, I don't know the answer to this as well, so don't worry about it. What if, you mentioned, when let's just say if you're earning a low income, you don't have much disposable income, but you have ambitions to go out and live a flashy lifestyle, or live a good lifestyle as you deserve, right? What would you say to people that are restricted, for example, their disposable income? What things can they do to kind of alleviate that,
Well, I think you said if you're limited and you've got ambition, and I think ambition's a key point there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If you've got that ambition, you'll find ways to make extra streams of income, man. Like go do some Just Eat deliveries, Deliveroo, right? If you've got goals, that might not be permanent, but that might help you save a bit more and give yourself a bit more leverage. Because ultimately, what money does is give you leverage in life.
And that's a brilliant point. I find this so exciting that you can make an income out of anything. It's all in your mind. It's just up to you to go out and try different things. Your first idea probably won't work.
Yeah,
but you just got to keep trying again and again and again. And I think that's where people kind of shy away from trying something new after a while, don't you think?
Yeah, it's like this podcast, bro. It's like you create episodes, you're putting it out every week. You might not get the numbers you want initially, but it's all about repetition, man. Keep working on it and keep planting the seeds.
Definitely, that's a great point. Isn't like you can only assess and you can only evaluate yourself after you've taken action in certain things. I think like that. For example, podcasts. I know the past couple of episodes, some things I say I need to work on. I need to stop out of certain habits, and that all comes with timing. But yeah, flipping right back to the money side of things as well. So is there anything else that you would give a bit of advice on, or anything that you've picked up from your research?
Bro, the thing is, man, I'm not perfect, yeah,
course,
but I'm interested in this stuff, so that's why I know a lot, right? Some of the advice I'm giving today is probably advice I could take on myself.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, man, it's just don't get into get rich quick schemes. Have that fun to go enjoy yourself.
But yeah, look, on that note, what we would like is if you guys can comment. There are any listeners, that would be great. You know, like Kush said there, we are learning ourselves. And I say that in every single episode because it's all a learning experience. It'd be good to get your views and topics of what we discussed from your money mindset, whether it comes to relationships and money conversations, whether you're in difficult situations. We're here to listen. And I think the main idea of this podcast is to create a community where we have an open space to talk about these things. Don't you think, Kush?
Yeah, absolutely, man. If there's any advice that you guys can think of that we could learn from, man, share it, man, because that's what this is all about, just learning from each other.
Definitely. But on that note, Kush, thank you for coming on today. You know, this has been quite an insightful conversation, quite a difficult one. So
yeah,
look, it's always nice to kind of come out and open up the show. But thanks for coming on, and tune in next week for another episode. But thank you, Kush.
Safe, man.
Cheers.